right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's take a look at how my description of the three box plots compares to what you hopefully have written down. So I said this shape, site 137 is approximately symmetrical, while sites 102 and 134 are slightly skewed right. I determined that they were skewed right based upon how the mean and the median compared together. So just know that that's how I use that comparison. Outlier, I said sites 102 and 134 do not appear to have any outliers, but I said site 137 appears to have an outlier on the left side of the box plot with an ozone level at approximately 4.6 parts per billion. Notice how my very first sentence, talking about shape, I don't really have any context. I talk about sites, but I don't talk about much of anything else in terms of context. But when I talk about outlier, I just don't say there's an outlier at about 4.6. I add context to it. I say 4.6 parts per billion. And I'm talking about an ozone level. So it's really important to make sure that somewhere within your description or comparison of these distributions, you have context. You don't need so much context that it sounds incredibly repetitive, but you need context in there, at least in a couple of the spots. And it can be really anywhere throughout your description. When you're looking at the grading rubrics for FRQs that involve describing a distribution, it usually almost has like a bulleted list. Does the description have context? Does the description talk about shape? Does the description correctly talk about outliers or center or spread? And it's kind of like a checklist that they go through. So it's not that you need context in each of these, but you need context somewhere. Center, site 134 has the smallest median ozone level of approximately 3 parts per billion. Site 102 has the next smallest. And then I said site 137 has the largest, and then I give 7.5 as the median there. So many of my distributions are skewed, which is why I decided to talk about the median here and compare their medians versus comparing their means, because I had two of them that were skewed distributions. If you talked about the means here, that would be fine as well. The key is using comparative language because it wants us to compare the distributions. So as long as you're kind of, ranking them as this one's the smallest, this one's the next largest, and this one's the biggest, you're going to be fine. Spread and variability. Site 102 has the largest variability in ozone levels with an interquartile range of approximately 3.9 parts per billion. Site 134 has slightly less variability with an IQR of 3 parts per billion. And then I said site 137's variability is about half of sites 102 and 134 with an IQR of approximately 1.5 parts per billion. So again, I chose to add in lots of context here and then just comparing the interquartile ranges. Okay, that middle 50%. When you're dealing with box plots, IQR or interquartile range is a great way to compare the spread or the variability versus looking at the range as a whole from minimum to maximum. All right, that's all I have for Chapter 1 notes. At this point, you should be able to get through all of the Chapter 1 homework and getting yourself ready for the Chapter 1 test.